Congratulations on being as strong as you are, my friend. Most people would quit, but you didn't. You're keeping up with upgrading your mindset, healing your emotions, and elevating your spirit, even though there were some intense, hard roadblocks, right? You've been through a lot. You've been through shit. You've been through anything most probably you could imagine, and you're still standing right now. And you feel inspired to make a move that may change your life forever, and you're dreaming about it and thinking about it and maybe setting some intentions for that. My friends, I have few powerful reminders for you today that will help you to move on that process. I know often it's not an easy journey, especially when we are surrounded with dream robbers, right? The energy vampires. And we may find ourselves in a surrounding that is not supporting our vision. I want to remind you, well, it's all okay. We all need to go through things like that, so we learn to embody our inner strength. So we learn to overcome the roadblocks and remind ourselves that we are the masters, that we are the master architects, that we are the visionaries, that we have the power to change our lives in a way that is the most meaningful and purposeful for us. So you may think that you're not good enough, but the truth is you are. You are everything and more. And you have to learn to acknowledge your doubts, but never allow them to dim your incredible potential, to dim your incredible light. It's okay to acknowledge our doubts. I always do that for myself. I acknowledge them, I become aware of them, I sometimes write them down so I can question them, like, why do I think that way? But you know what I always notice? I notice, well, that's what my mother was saying when I was little. Or that's when my mother said when I've expressed my dreams or my desires to her. Like the things I wanted to have or to create when I was, in that peak state of enthusiasm. She always said certain doubting things back to me, and I noticed, well, it became my program. So when I've noticed that those thoughts are not really mine, I've recognized that actually I can create my own ones. Actually, I can write my own story that can be more helpful for the life that I want to live, right? So we have to recognize that most of our thoughts are not ours. Some are coming from the collective because, we are all plugged to this web of life. As in quantum physics, there's a saying that in quantum universe, there are no such things as accidents, only possibilities and probabilities folded into existence by perception. And perception is made out of beliefs we're, repeating over and over again, stories we're hearing, and the stories are forming beliefs, and beliefs are forming a perception. So when we are hearing something frequently, most probably at some point it will become a certain way of looking at the world. That's why it's so important to know that you are the architect, to be aware what you allow yourself to perceive, what you're listening, what you're reading, what you're, watching, and so on. And remind yourself, if it is not supporting your growth, it's a distraction. So I want to give you this powerful reminder that the past is gone forever. Know that, my friend, the past is gone forever. But until you let go of it, the past is a thief and steals your ability to dream and imagine. You need to spend time thinking about your future because that's where you're heading. But you must also stay connected to the present because that's how you build a better future, right? Everything is happening in the present moment. But if we don't have a vision for the future, we will be repeating the story of the past, because it's our conditioning. It's our program installed into our minds. So it's not enough just to be mindful and to practice being present. You have to awaken your inner visionary. You have to awaken your inner alchemist. You've been born with those capacities, with that power to envision the life you want to live. And to make sure that you identify that vision to such a degree that you can make some really practical plans out of it so you can accomplish them. So you can measure your accomplishments. So you can maybe break them down to such a degree that you can know what will be the baby steps you can make today so you can get a little bit closer to where you want to be. But in order to make it happen, you have to let go of the past. And you may be wondering, well, how can I let go of the past? I have so many doubts because of what I've been through. But you know what I've learned? Even if we have those doubts, even if we have those fears, if you're still keeping up, walking towards something that is important to you, let's say you want to become financially more independent and you build a certain online shop or you start a certain online business, whatever it is, and you have those doubts like, oh, what if I will not succeed? What if it will not happen? But you still keep it up. At some point, you will see maybe a first income, a first sale will happen, something like that will happen. And it will give you a sign, okay, maybe if I become better at this, maybe if I learn a better strategy, maybe if I become a little bit better in marketing or whatever, I can increase this income. And it will fuel a fire of your spirit that you are capable of making possibilities. And as you go through this process, you see it's not just a mental work of letting go of the past or whatever, it's actually having a vision, walking the path, paving the path for yourself, and recognizing that you can't know fully until you experience it fully, right? So it doesn't matter what kind of doubts and fears you have around what is possible or what is not possible. As long as you're keeping up, you're making impossible possible, because we're learning through experiences, not just through mental processes and intellectual knowledge. We're learning through experiences. That's when the soul is growing the most. That's when we are expanding our light, by moving through new experiences. So when you have that dream, you have that dream for a reason. And most probably your dream is completely different than the programs of your past, than the stories you've heard in your family circles. It's different because you've come here to heal that DNA pattern, that limiting beliefs pattern that is causing too many people living limited lives. And you've come here to unlimit yourself. You've come here to free that stored energy so you can fully embody your potential, right? So, my friends, stay connected to the present moment. Practice mindfulness. Do meditations daily. Whatever can help you to ground yourself in this moment, but have a vision. Because the easiest way to let go of something is to focus on something greater. To focus on something greater. Another reminder I want to give you is to stop taking more care of other people's priorities than your own ones. It's beautiful. It's admiring that you have such a great heart's capacity to love others to such a degree that you want to help them, that you want to serve them, that you want to support them. But when others' priorities are beyond your own ones, your cup of life will always be empty. You will, at some point, you will find yourself that you have nothing to give, you have nothing to share. So you firstly need to take care of your own priorities. If you wake up and the first thing that's in your mind is how you will take care of your family members, how you will take care of your job or whatever it is, then your priorities are always based on someone else's priority list. And therefore, you're not nurturing your own ones. But at the first place, you're here to fulfill your own priorities. So through that, you can raise your frequency and you can meet your needs so you can share this wonderful gift with others. And it's really a beautiful thing that you're helping others and serving others and doing whatever you feel like you need to do. Sometimes we have certain karmic connections to, certain karmic, let's say, things to finish. And that's why we need to sometimes take a great care of a certain family member. It happens sometimes. But make sure that you start your day with nurturing your priorities first, because it will give you a sense that you have control over your life, that you have time, that everything is manageable if you just take more time for that, if you put yourself at the first place, and everything else will become much easier. Just know that, my friend, because too many people are putting others' priorities first and they forget about themselves. So don't be like that. Another reminder I want to give you is about emotions. You deserve the best. You have to provide the best to yourself, but know that you're led by your emotions, not your wishes. Your emotions are your emotional home as your body. Your body is your emotional home. You're living in it, right? And you're experiencing your life through emotions. So however you feel, that's how you experience your life. When your emotional home is not nurtured well, you will feel like something is wrong. And the emotions that are the most familiar to you will be met no matter the circumstances, and this becomes your reality most of the time. So what does it mean? If sadness is one of the most familiar emotion to you, doesn't matter how good your life is going, you will always find reasons to be sad. And it's an unconscious pattern, so most of the time we don't even know why life works that way. But we recognize that if we don't start nurturing our emotional home better, nothing will change. Doesn't matter, even if our circumstances in life may start changing, we'll still find reasons to be sad. Maybe for a short period of time, we experience more happiness, more joy, like for example when you go onto vacation and suddenly you feel much happier and much more enthusiastic, and suddenly you have more positive thoughts in your mind. But at some point you start getting back into your familiar zone, back into your familiar emotions. And our emotions never die. Like Sigmund Freud said, he said, unexpressed emotions will never die. They are buried alive and will come forth later in uglier ways. So emotions have great power. Through emotions we are manifesting life. For example, when we amplify our emotional frequency, energy in motion, we start to feel more connected with life. We start to feel more intuitive. And we start to feel more grateful for simple things. But when we feel lower emotions, there's a reason behind them. If you feel sad most of the time, it's because you're repeating certain sad stories to yourself. Or you've been through hard stuff. You've been through many, maybe unacceptable or hard to accept moments. Or you've been exposed to wrongdoings and now you don't know how to shake off that energy. And you're dwelling in the stories of the past. I want to remind you that firstly, it's completely okay. Most of the time, people who are experiencing lower emotions are judging themselves, are being hard on themselves, are punishing themselves because they think they shouldn't experience that. Because in the past, we've been told that we should force to push ourselves through it, that we should try to be happy, that we should try to be positive. But what truly we need to do is we need to learn to open up to that stored energy. And if you've been suppressing it for such a long time, it may not happen overnight, right? It may not happen overnight. A release of certain heaviness, it will not happen overnight. It's a long process to open up and release something that was suppressed for such a long time. But I want to remind you that if you take time daily to nurture your emotional home, eventually it will purify, right? Eventually it will refresh. It will become much better to be in. And suddenly you will feel like something is changing. You will start to feel more alive. Like a daily meditation, for example, that allows you to experience greater emotional state. Like something you actually want to feel. Like plugging yourself to a higher frequency of joy for life, of love for life you love, of passion for the life you are intending to live. How does it feel like? How does it feel to be passionate for a life that you actually want to live? How does it feel to be passionate to do something you love? Do you believe that there's a possibility of you living a life you would love to live? Do you believe that? Because if you don't believe it, you will never look for possibilities. You will never look for opportunities. But when you start to think that you're the source of opportunities, you're the source of synchronicities, you're the source of possibilities, you will start living the way that the first thing in the morning will be a moment of creation, a process of creation. Right now I'm taking time to create the life that that sparks joy in my soul, right? How often you dream about your future, how you see yourself in the next 3 years, how the evolved version of yourself looks and feels like. Those are the questions you should ask yourself. What you need to let go of together, what habits, what stories, what beliefs. For what beliefs you should change your beliefs so you can feel more supported, right? Those are all important questions you should ask yourself. You deserve the best, so provide the best to yourself. Provide the best emotional experiences to yourself and do more things that you actually love to do. You may say, I don't have time. Well, if you don't have time for love, then love doesn't have time for you, right? Remember that you are the source of anything you choose to experience. And to experience a change, you need to make space for the change. What does it mean? Well, to make a space for the change, we have to identify what is not allowing us to change. What is not allowing us to change? Well, I want to experience a better life, but I'm living same way every single day, and it feels quite boring. But it's only boring because we are not adding something new. And to add something new means to let go of something old. You may be attached to a certain lifestyle that is not serving you anymore. And because of that attachment, it's hard for you to let go of it. But to let go of it means that you start making up a new lifestyle. You start creating a new lifestyle. To wake up and start a new morning routine. We're in the Virgo season right now, which means that it's a great time to restructure your life. Virgos are hard-working beings. They're visionaries. And to be a visionary means that you have a vision for the future, right? And to be hardworking on it means that you feel so enthusiastic about that life that it becomes more important than your present life. And it doesn't mean that you start ignoring what you have, but you start living for what you're about to create in the present moment. You wake up or you awaken to a dream that is about to become your reality. You stop wishing for it to happen, and you start demanding it to happen through your actions, through your moves, through your thoughts. Become aware that you are an architect of your life, and you can design a life from the same level of living that created a life you're living right now. You can design a new life from the same level of living that have created a life or had created a life you're living today. You have to make a change. You have to become the change. And I want to remind you also that all your prayers and intentions are actually answered. You may think it's not true, but the truth is that maybe because we all have been brainwashed of what prayer is, we're praying in a wrong way. When you pray, oh, I wish this will change, what you're actually saying is, my life is not good. And that prayer is answered to experience more of the results that will reassure to you why your life is not good. When you're praying for change, pray in change, praying gratitude for the changes that are coming up, for the changes that are about to find you. Real prayer is the feeling. If you will go and talk with certain monks who are good in that, they will tell you the real prayer is feeling. The real prayer is feeling that is awakened through consistent repetition of intentional thinking in the present sense. In many ancient prayers, they're using mantras. And mantras are actually powerful words that awaken certain sensation in the body, a certain feeling, because they understood that we're all connected on the web of life. That's an extension of the source of infinite possibilities. And to connect and communicate with that source, we're not communicating with words, we're communicating with vibration, with feeling, with sensation. And vibration then carries information. Information is a thought. But if a thought is not sent out through a frequency that can be understood by the source, then your prayer will not come out as you would like it to be. The prayer is the feeling. When you want to pray for abundance, pray in abundance. Be already thankful for the things that are surrounding you, that are demonstrations of abundance, like fresh air, drinkable water, light, health in your body, relationships that you have. Whatever you find that is already flowing in abundance, be grateful for that. And then from that state of gratitude, keep raising the frequency, keep sending the intentions out on that frequency of gratitude for the life you want to live in a present sense. I'm grateful that this is happening. I'm grateful that this is finding me. I'm grateful that the life I'm intending to live is already possible somewhere in the future, and now I'm getting into that future and walking towards it. And there's a time span then, usually 3 weeks, 4 weeks, or sometimes if we're more beginners in that work, it may be 2 months, 3 months maybe, that things start happening and energy start aligning. We're living in a time-space reality, which means that all changes require certain time. But as we become stronger in our energy, the time will shorten. The time distance between us right here, right now, and that future potential will shorten. But we have to know that what we're doing today is an investment into our future. So once we understand that, we start praying differently. We start setting intentions differently. The shamans will say to you that it all begins and ends in your mind. What you give power to has power over you. And once you understand that, you become really, really careful and conscious around what you choose to think, what you allow yourself to perceive, and how you want to lead your life, right? You stop denying your dreams. You become more honest with yourself about what you want, what is possible for you, and how will you get there. You stop denying your dreams, right? And you start to feel worthy for the life you're intending to live. You recognize that you've been so brainwashed, that you still believe that you should live the way that maybe your parents taught you that what's normal. But deep inside you know that you've come here to dream big, you've come here to live a life of freedom, to live a life of compassion, of love, of awe, but also of service, of great enthusiasm for help, for change, for transformation that is required on this planet, so together we can all thrive. You've come here to do that. You've come here to be a student, but also you've come here to be a master of your mind, to be a master of your body. And right now, most probably, you don't know what it means. But as you hear those words, they awaken certain sense of questioning that puts you onto a new journey of discovery, the real meaning behind it. And that's the truth. The truth is not what I'm saying. The truth is what will you discover by questioning what I'm saying. And that's what it means to be on your own journey, to be on an adventure of life, to love the life you love, and to create the life you love, so we can walk from that heart state of love, right? And be enthusiastic for change, for the transformation, for the awakening of possibilities that you're about to create right at this moment. My friends, I hope you found something inspiring today, something valuable today. I hope you've enjoyed in today's painting of transformation, the alchemical process that this painting represents, from the roots to the tree. And there's a piece of gold and on the bottom of the painting, which represents the highest potential of matter in alchemy. And it's a symbol of transformation. We all can transform ourselves into the highest potential of being by seeking of becoming it and walking towards answers of how to become it, right? Expanding our mental capacities, our knowledge of how could we embody this potential. And then making the steps, making the plans, and staying consistent to the daily work, devoted to a dream that is bigger than life, because that's how we become who we came here to be. So my friends, stay beautiful, stay creative, keep it up, and thanks to anyone for supporting my art in our Etsy shop. I Draw My Passion. You're all truly appreciated. I love you all, my friends, and till next time, one love.